Hello, beautiful humans. It is I, Christina, here at Fit and Bendy Studios in Los Angeles to answer a question that I get fairly often, a question for the ages. What is the difference between a straddle split and a middle split? I'm so glad you asked. Let's go over it. The main difference has to do with the position of the pelvic bones. So you got 3 bones in the front of your pelvis that kind of poke forward. You got your 2 hip bones and then your pubic bone, right? And they make this kind of triangle here in the pelvis. So let's talk about what those bones are doing in these 2 different splits. We're going to start with straddle. Straddle is usually the one that's more accessible. When I'm teaching flexibility, I start with straddle. The straddle and middle splits prep series linked below starts with a lot of straddle work. It's easier. Why? Because in this position, my hip bones are facing forward. My pubic bone is facing forward. This triangle of bones is facing forward. My sit bones are on the floor. So I'm essentially just sitting on the floor and my legs open apart, right? This is a straddle. Now, I can open my legs further or less far, still a straddle. I can also do different things with my torso. So I can move my torso side to side. I can twist my torso around. I can even bring my torso forward to the floor. Still a straddle. Why is that still a straddle? Because my sit bones are still on the floor. My hip bones are still facing forward. My pubic bone is still facing forward. This triangle doesn't really change as I go forward, right? I'm just bending at the waist to bring my body down towards the floor. That's a straddle. Now, a middle split, I take this apparatus, this pelvic apparatus, and I turn it to face the floor. So I am simply tipping my pelvis forward. So why is this harder? Because now gravity is pressing down on me and pressing me into my hip flexibility, right? In this position, if I don't have a lot of hip flexibility, I can just move my legs in. This is still a straddle. Yay. Totally fine. But when I'm doing a middle split, as soon as I tilt my pelvis to face the floor, all of a sudden gravity is pushing my pelvis down and it's pushing me into this middle splits position. So let's say that maybe I don't have that flat position. Maybe I'm up here. This can be a lot of strain on the hips, on the pelvis to hold this position because your hips can get very stressed out with that kind of downward pressure. So a lot of the work that we do to help people get deeper into that position is to strengthen and balance the musculature of the hips, which helps you be able to hold this position against gravity and gradually open up without the pelvis feeling really uncomfortable. So just a quick recap. Straddle, hip bones facing forward. Doesn't matter what my torso is doing, right? Middle splits, pelvis is facing the floor. And again, doesn't matter what my torso is doing. So I can arch my body up, looks suspiciously a little bit like a straddle, but if you see where my pelvic bones are, my hip bones are on the floor, even though I'm coming up. So I'm using my torso, my back bend to lift up into that position. All right. So hopefully that helps to explain the difference between the two. And again, your training progression, start the straddles, get strong with the straddles, really work on that hip musculature before moving on to the middle splits. Our tutorials can help you with that. All right. If you want more of this, please like and subscribe. I hope to see you again soon. Many happy bendings.